What would you say to someone who wants to start some sort of business but isn't going to do that? They're not going to go door to door.
You have to have that fire in your belly. You know what I mean? You've got to want to do it. And it's like, and I just told someone this the other day, is that if you want to start something and you're thinking about it, or you're on the edge of your seat, you want to do it, but you don't know how to do it, you just do it.
Hey there, hot messes. Welcome to Success of a Hot Mess, where we celebrate the art of juggling life's chaos and coming out on top. I'm Stacey Isaacs, your host and resident rock star lawyer, dance mom, and survivor. We're going to dive into candid conversations about conquering challenges, embracing our unique selves, and finding success in the beautiful mess of it all. Hi, Meredith.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for coming on Success of a Hot Mess podcast.
I'm honored to be here.
This podcast is brought to you by my law firm, workinjuryrights.com. We help injured workers, and you help people in a completely different way. You are the COO and founder of MB Styles, right?
I am the owner. I am the designer. I'm the everything of my brand. Yes.
You are, and for listeners who might not be aware, it is a jewelry company, correct?
Yes. So it is a affordable, let's call it affordable jewelry company, because I couldn't find it out in the marketplace. So I started with just on a whim, just finding, I couldn't find it in the marketplace, and I wanted something affordable for most people that had really good quality, because you don't really find that. So I had to figure it out.
Yeah, it seems like you have become the go-to girl in the area, and probably further north and south than Parkland, but for affordable pieces. I am wearing my MB Styles earrings today.
That's right, your dot dusters, and they look so great on you.
Thank you, and I have some other pieces, and it's so convenient for someone like me who is doing a million things at once. Whenever I need a gift, I can basically go down the street and get something good. But I want to talk about how you even got to this place. What is your background, your education?
Okay, so I studied at the Fashion Institute. So I was, I was very all about fashion growing up, and about jewelry as well, but just very, I wanted to study fashion. And I studied at Arizona State. So I got my bachelor's, and then I went and did a special one-year program at Fashion Buying and Merchandising at FIT in New York. And from there, I worked, in the garment center, and really got a background in, buying and wholesale and all of that stuff. And after I got married, I had my career in the garment center, but I really wanted to have my own business. I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what. I really didn't. I had to find out. And I had many businesses before MB Styles was created. I had my first business when I have 3 kids, and my youngest was, my middle was just born back in 2003. I started a flip-flop company, and it was very successful.
Flip-flops as in like the shoes?
Like, you remember the rubber Havaianas?
Yeah.
From Brazil? I was one of the first people to bring them in the United States. And I had embellished them. I had resources. I went and I got crystal buckles, and I had them sewn with beautiful laser cut ribbons, and it was called Flattering Flops. And I had mother-daughter, and it was a huge success. It really was. It was out of the house. I had people sewing for me. I landed in 3 different showrooms, New York, Florida, and Atlanta. And we were in 65 stores probably on the East Coast. So that was like a really big start for me, doing my own entrepreneurial, venture.
That was kind of before all social media, wasn't it?
Correct. That was before. So it's, it's so funny, because I was talking to someone about it. They're like, how did you get your name out? Well, I hustled. I went door to door. I went to stores. I asked people to do parties in their home, because there was no social media. So That's how you had to do it back then.
You definitely have that personality. What would you say to someone who wants to start some sort of business but isn't going to do that? They're not going to go door to door.
I have to say, it takes those people with, and my dad would be so proud of me, because I'm from a family of entrepreneurs. You have to have that fire in your belly. You know what I mean? You've got to want to do it. And it's like, and I just told someone this the other day, is that if you want to start something and you're thinking about it, or you're on the edge of your seat, you want to do it, but you don't know how to do it, you just do it.
Like you're the second person today
do it.
to
You
say.
know, it's don't think about it. You know, it's like, do you want it? Do you need it? Like, no, you just go for it. You know what I mean? And I was coached early on about, how showing up on like social media, it's you do it imperfectly. It doesn't matter. Just do it. And I have to tell you, even just starting MB Styles, I was like, how am I going to start a jewelry company? Like, how am I going to do this? And I was like, I don't know.
You had
figure it out.
But you had a background in fashion.
I did. And using those resources of, finding factories and doing that stuff. But again, anyone can do it, especially now with Google. Like, you just figure it out. And, it's networking. I'm big believer in networking, so I'm always, asking questions or, making a phone call or an email or, whatever that is.
You're the female Paul Faust.
All right, you know what? And I take that as a compliment.
It is.
Because
he knows everybody.
Paul is a dear friend of ours he was a childhood friend of my husband's, but I love his drive. And I love when I'm with him because he just works the room. And not in a bad way. He works the room in a good way. And he's electric. And I feel like I want, that's who I am. I mean, there's no bad day. When you really think about other people and other people's problems, it's not such a bad day. You just got to move forward and live for every day because you don't know what's tomorrow. That's I wake up with a smile every day and,
But not a lot of people are like you. So I'm probably more introverted. And now I have a podcast and I sing in a band, but when we were starting the law firm, it literally began at a dining room table and we were looking at each other saying, how are we getting cases through the door? And I had to go out there and schmooze with other lawyers to try to get their workers' comp referrals. And to this day, some of those lawyers are still referring us cases. But I think it helps to have your type of personality.
Yeah.
But what would you say to someone, I deal with a lot of people, they're at a crossroads. They've been injured on their job, okay? I represent some police. They can no longer be police. They're injured. They want to start a little business. So what is a piece of advice besides just do it? Let's say they don't have the financial resources.
Right. Well, you know what? It's first of all, you have to find something in order to be successful. And this is what you have to do something you love, right? It could be anything. But if you put that love in, that comes across to people that you're selling to. And it's not necessarily the product. It's you, right? You also have to sell yourself. So whatever that may be, you need to sell yourself in order to sell that product. You want the person to like you or to trust you what you're selling or making or doing, whatever that is. So I think it has to start with your, love what you can do, and you have to figure it out as you go on. I don't care if that's baking something in your kitchen or it's knitting something or whatever it is, but find something that you love. And always people say, well, how do you make money on that? I think that if you love something enough and you put your heart and soul into it, the money will come, but put the love and the work into it first,
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I've said that even with this podcast, the subject matter has to be something I love. I can't just sit and talk about, the law all day because it will not come across as authentic.
That's true.
So I do agree with you on that.
But that's who you are too. You're everything. You're a lawyer, but you got so many other things going for you, which is amazing.
I do. And I still have, they're not that young, but my kids are still in the house. So what's it like when you become an empty nester? Has the business become your baby?
So it has, and it's another milestone in my life, and it's nice. I miss the kids. Of course, I miss the 5 of us being together. But the business has come. It was just 3 years. December 23rd was 3 years.
Congratulations.
Which I'm so excited. And we hit 10,000 followers on Instagram, which is
amazing.
We hit that all in one day. So that was great. It could not have come at a better time, I have to say. So, when I was 3 years ago, yes, I had them still in high school, but they were older. They were one's a senior. So now that they're all out of the house, this has become my baby. And now I don't have that guilt of saying, all right, I'll help you or I'll take you somewhere or I know you need me. Now it's like my husband and he travels a lot. So I have a home office right now, and of course this year I'll be moving out of the home because inventory it's too much. And I've actually hired people, so I need to move out. But it is a really new life for me because now I can concentrate on the business and really dive all in because I have all the time in the world to do that.
I love this.
So
yeah,
it's
I love
really
it.
great.
And working for yourself is the best.
Yeah.
Did you ever work for someone else?
I have. So I worked in the garment center and I worked for, plenty of people, which really I learned so much because I worked in accessories. I worked in, fashion, clothing. I had a little bit of everything. So I definitely learned as I went along. And the beauty of it is I definitely kept a lot of resources and a lot of networks close to my,
That's smart.
close to me so I could reach out.
I know a lot of what you do is, you've built this brand, which we're all trying to do in some way, all of us business owners. So what do you attribute all the success to in the branding? Because pretty much now everybody knows Meredith Buchwald and MB Styles.
Well, it's interesting that you asked that. It's like, I am building a brand, and I'm kind of the face of the brand, right? And I'm building this brand to, it's not just so my name, but like I'm the face of it. So it's all about, people know my brand for quality. They know for customer service. They know I'm going to step in. I'm going to take care of it. Some people call, I'm quite a business here. We're international now. I've shipped to every state in the United States. And I have shipped to 8 different countries, which is amazing, because, and if anyone's listening, these are because of my influencers that I have found that have, sent them on a whim, sent them and said, oh, here's a dot chain. I think you guys, would really like it. If you love it, share it with your followers. And they have. And that's how, that's a big part of my business is that I'm sharing my brand with influencers that can help promote me, which is the same thing that, you can do too. So, but I am the face of the brand, so I just want that brand to grow and grow. And since I'm the face of it, I really just want to be in my social media, have influencers talk about me that I can expand it in so many different areas, not just jewelry, not just accessories. I do belts, I do all that stuff. So because my name is MB Styles and not MB Accessories,
smart.
The brand really can expand from there. And I have big hopes, dreams for it to be a big household name. Yeah.
Now, are you designing the jewelry?
I am.
Okay.
I am. And I'm not, and everybody asks me, are you a designer? Do you have a background? No, it is called a pencil and a paper that I, scribble. But I do a lot of soul searching. I like to look at vintage sites. I will look at vintage artwork. I will look at vintage jewelry sites. I will go on antique things and I will pull different designs, shapes, all that stuff to really incorporate of like making a belt buckle or making a certain necklace, like the dots. And everyone says, well, where did the dots come from? Because I am known for the dot chain. I started the dots. I have a patent pending on the dot chain. I also have a trademark on Rock the Dot, which is a whole brand campaign we're doing. But I started the dots because it's the circle of life. It's one of the strongest symbols. So that's why I started with the circle.
Okay, I like that.
But, I design it just by looking at things and seeing what's out. And when I'm traveling, I take notes, I take pictures, and I just put it to paper. That's what I do. And I send it to my factories. So.
But are you the person who is physically boxing these things and mailing them out?
Well, if you ask my husband, I am still doing that, sitting on the floor, 1:00 in the morning, because my pink and blue packaging with the cute little ribbon and the shred and the box has to be it's my brand, and I am still sitting on the floor doing it. And that is a topic of discussion this week because I do need to hire some folks to come in and do all my boxing.
But I do think that's like part of the charm that people know it was boxed by you.
I do. I love it.
But when I first met you, and I think it was through the Faust at a party, I was like, there's no way this girl is that friendly and nice. And they're like, no, she really is. That's how she is. That's just your personality. But I think you've done a tremendous job with the branding, and I am trying to do that. We made the law firm used to be called Ben Harrow and Isaacs. But in an effort to do better branding, we changed the name to Work Injury Rights so that there is no question as to what we do.
Right.
Right? So
It's your brand. Yeah. I mean, that's your brand. Think about that. The name
Right.
of your firm is your brand.
But for someone who is not selling, I mean, I am selling a product, but really it's a service. How do you think we can improve on the branding? Like, I don't think there's an influencer that's going to say, hey, call Work Injury Rights.
You know what? You
Unless
never
they
know.
pay them, maybe.
No, you know what? You never know. I have to tell you, there are so many different influencers on social media. People are just not influencing on fashion and this and that. There is influencers I've seen for car dealerships. There are influencers for hospital rights. I mean, if you dig a little bit, you cannot believe, because remember, everybody's coming out of their shell, like saying, well, I want to be an influencer. I'm not fashion and I'm not, this or that. But there are influencers for everything. And I think there's a lot more showing up because people know that you can make a significant amount of money being an influencer, no matter what it's for.
Well, that's
so
true.
I think if you look, wide and far, you'd find an influencer for it. I really do. I really do.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you believe that networking, very important.
Very.
In terms of branding, do you have an MB Styles like wrap on your car?
No, I don't. I did talk about doing a license plate, but I never did it.
Yeah,
No,
you should do the license plate.
I know. I know I should, and maybe I will one day. I don't know.
So how many people have you hired?
Just right now, we have 2 people. So I'm looking for probably a team of 4 is what I'd like to, in the next 6 months. And we're working toward that right now. So, but again, being a small business and figuring it all out, the 2 people was like a whole new thing. But I realized that once I had them, my life changed, right? The business changed, and I can see it growing because things were being taken off my plate that I didn't have to deal with, and focusing on what was really important to grow the business for myself.
Well, that's exactly what happened to the firm. It used to be us 3 partners handling all the cases, and then we hired people, and now we can manage and grow and go out and try to network and everything. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting. When you say affordable luxury jewelry, what price frame are we talking?
So affordable. So I would say my average price is like that $85, $95. And what you're getting for that is a really significant piece. My stuff looks, wears, and feels like real jewelry. And I was just talking to someone the other day that, I could find a piece you can walk into Saks Fifth Avenue in the fine jewelry, and looking at their paper clips with the little diamond clasp, it looks exactly what I'm making. And it's nice. And mine, affordable luxury, is something that's not like the traditional. When you find traditional costume, let's call it costume jewelry in the boutiques, it's usually made out of brass for $170. You're getting sterling silver with a 14 karat plating and a heavy electroplating with mine. And that's why I wanted to bring this brand alive, because you can't find that. You can find it on Amazon, and you get it, and it's got this clasp that's awful, and it's all brass, and in a week it's going to turn. And then you have the boutique selling this brass piece for $170, and it's garbage. So I had to find the quality and the niche market where it was affordable and you could wear high and low. And that's my target market. My target market wants to wear their fine jewelry and, their, say, costume jewelry, and be able to wear and mix it. And, and I couldn't find it. And so I decided to make it.
So I have seen a lot of your social media, some of it, maybe not anymore, but I saw recipes. Do you still do that?
So no, I don't. So this was back when we had COVID, right? Everybody was inside.
Right.
Everybody had to figure out what it was. And I was with a network marketing company because someone said, Meredith, you're so into makeup and skincare. Did you ever hear this brand in Stuart, Florida? It was called Crunchy. Crunchy with an I. Anyway, it was, how do I sell it, right? Who am I selling to?
Crunchy was a skincare line?
Oh, it is. I use it to this day.
That is a very interesting name for...
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to get you samples because it is amazing. But how are we going to sell it? We're all in COVID. I'm seeing nobody, right? How do you do it? Well, I invested in a coach, and I said, really was never onto social media. I was never doing anything. I was like, I had to figure out how to do it. I knew I had the personality, but I'm like, how do I do it? Make a long story short, I got a coach who says how to show up. And the one thing she says to me is, I said, I have a business. I want to show up on Facebook. The Facebook was the platform I was using. And she says, okay, well, what do you do every day? I was like, well, we're in COVID. What do we do? And I said, actually, I'm cooking a lot. And she's like, okay. And I said, well, I'm cooking specifically. My daughter has not only type 1 diabetes, but she's celiac, so I do a lot of gluten-free cooking in the home. So she says, well, okay, go on every day, give a recipe, go on for 5 minutes, give them the recipe, and bring them over to a Facebook and give them the recipe and bring them over and love on them. And that's exactly what I did.
But how was that monetized?
I'm going to tell you. So I had that like, know, and trust factor because I was giving them great recipes. They were coming back to me. And I said, oh, if you love this so much, please join my private Facebook group. It was 1,200 women. And in there, I was doing tutorials. I still have it, but I don't actively use it. But I was doing tutorials with the makeup and just doing recipes and doing all sorts of things of really providing real value to them where they were wanting to come back and learn from me. And then I talked about the crunchy and they were all buying it. And it's great. And I still have tons of customers today. And that's how I learned to show up because she's like, pick a time and show up every day. And I called it Mondays with Meredith.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like you're pretty much a branding genius. You did talk about coaching, and I highly recommend anybody starting a business reaches out, whether it's a free mentor at first, you can find tons of videos.
Yes.
But coaching definitely took our business, and shout out to 8-Figure Firm, Louis Scott. You really can't do it yourself unless you have some background in it, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so how can people find you and become your 11,000th?
Let's go to 20.
Yeah.
But yes, so I'm MB Styles on Instagram, and then www.mb- don't forget the dash, styles, plural.com is my website. And the website has everything. And we ship all over. We ship domestically and internationally.
So people can find your whole catalog there?
The whole website. It's a shopping website.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Meredith Buchwald, thank you so much for coming on Success of a Hot Mess, brought to you by workinjuryrights.com. I'm sure I will be making a purchase soon. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Success of a Hot Mess. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a beat. And hey, sharing is caring. Share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. Until next time, keep rocking those hot mess moments with style and grace. Cheers.